Hey everyone, welcome to Two Guys Making Tribe, where Gen X meets Gen Y. Enjoy the show.
The end of 2023, there's been a lot of stuff going on throughout the year. It's been a very interesting year. I mean, last year, 2022, we had the Ukraine Russian war start. This year, we have Israel and Gaza, um, which is turning into a shit show.
to say the least.
I mean, of course, we can all be torn uh, about the way that Israel is going into Gaza. In some ways, I understand they are trying to keep civilian casualties down as much as possible, but coming from their standpoint, they're not that far removed from the Holocaust. So it's still kind of ingrained in them of like never again, and they're just rather than beating around the bush, they're just no, that's it. We're not even going to play this time, which I can sympathize, Um, but on the other hand, still, it's like there's a lot of quote unquote innocence. I mean, who's really innocent on
Yeah,
on any side?
it's a very complicated situation, and at the very least, it's probably a more divisive experience in our country, even though we're not directly involved with it, than some of the stuff that we were directly involved with during the 2020 and COVID period.
Mm.
People are very emotionally connected to this, one on one side or another. Some people are aligning where they have no direct connection, um, but it seems to be another uh, thing to be enraged about. Okay. But then you have another side that has a semi direct connection, some affinities and, relationships, and where it's extremely emotional for them. And you're seeing a coalescence of resources in the media and finance are jumping on one side versus the media and education on another side. It's almost like the left, using that term,
Mm.
is starting to eat its own based on this narrative.
Well, if you look out historically, um, the left always does end up eating its own. Um, if you look at the former Soviet Union, but going back to Stalin, you know, once they took over the farms in Ukraine and they killed all the farmers, then they put their guys in there and they weren't doing, I mean, millions starved. And if you didn't produce, you were killed, even though just months before they were, on the good side and this, that, and the other. Of course, going back to Nazi Germany, you know, and the night of the shattered glass and all that, where the brown shirts, you know, the the useful idiots, the Antifa types, you know, send them in to cause all this chaos, and then they were hunted down by the very people that sent them in the first place. It's like the left has a way of doing that. It's like they'll find they'll make the lowly people feel empowered. Go do this. They're the bad guys. Go do this. And then when they've outlived their usefulness, then they're the ones that get.
Or they step out of line. We saw this happen, I think, in Atlanta
Mm.
when they were trying to create that large first responder training facility.
Mhm.
And some groups on the left went ruckshot and trying to destroy the facility, attacking the police, and they were just all scooped up and tucked away somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're getting J6 treatment,
I doubt it.
But it just shows you that sometimes the groups that are being manipulated to do what the establishment wants sometimes run amok. And it could be a wake up call for those groups to say, hey, we're not really in the control that we think we are,
Well,
and we're expendable.
well, and speaking, I mean, of groups that are clueless. I mean, I know we've all seen it. Gays for Palestine.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, go over to any hardcore Muslim country and profess your open gayness.
I'm blown away that there's women in the protest.
Yeah,
Hamas openly says they can't drive, they can't vote, they can't do anything.
yeah. They're good for raping and that's about it, kind of thing, But yet these third wave feminists are. It's like, do you think at all? I mean, it's like, they throw gays off of buildings in Iran, right? And they go splat. And when you say this, I mean, I've seen some conservative people like confront them with that, and it's usually either deer caught in the headlights and I don't want to talk about we're done here, or they're like, really? It's like they really don't know. It's like they've been lied to. Go figure. I mean, all governments lie. I mean, it's love America. Rah rah rah. But it's just a fact. All governments lie, cheat, steal. Every government's corrupted at some level. I mean, even if you go back to our founding, I mean, look at some of the issues that some of the founders had back and forth. And when they say that our elections now are dirty and mudslinging, some of the stuff they were saying about hermaphrodite, this, that, and the other. I mean, so it's always been in our DNA to really, But that's why Washington, I have to give him, he didn't want parties, because once you have parties, then you tribalize, and then you have all these kind of issues. It should be just based upon the person, but that goes against human nature and human psychology. We're hardwired. Our genetics are to tribalize.
Yes, absolutely. But to maintain control over a group of people, then you need to have the division. So a tribe will bring a natural division in a geographical space, okay, and you'll have your chieftains and what have you throughout time. But then when you get to the scale of the modern world, you need to utilize religion, sexuality, ethnic, cultural divides and stuff like that to prevent the coalition, not
Yeah.
coalition, coalescing.
Right.
Okay.
Chevy, Ford. I mean.
But one thing I've noticed lately, just using how the transgender community now, and I say this with under the guise of TikTok videos. Okay. Again, the left and the right is such a small group of people that are just screaming really loud. And the media and a lot of us that if we buy into certain narratives, we think that is the generalization of the people on the right or the left, which is not the case. So when the whole Israeli issue came up and you started seeing LGBTQ TikTok supporting type people jumping on, oh, I just read the Quran and XYZ and I didn't know and I didn't realize. And you were bringing up earlier how, well, yes, the radicalized portions of, say, the Muslim community, yes, they're going to throw you off a rooftop. So it doesn't make any sense that you're sitting there supporting people that are labeled radicalized, okay, when they would not support you, okay? But that just shows you the narratives that are going on where someone either had the idea, well, let me jump on there for clicks, or someone gave the order to jump on that. And it just made me think that the young of our country is just subject to cult movements.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay. And which was in part how the Nazis were able to, bring the Hitler Youth to power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's in a different way. It's a different time, and Hitler Youth didn't come to power and say, "Hey, we're going to go and we're going to kill all the Jewish people." No, they were brought to power because, hey, our country was ravaged by the wars that we were involved with. We were punished. We were impoverished. So now we need to feel good about our country. Okay, here in America, the left is being utilized to sit there and destroy the fabric. Not to say that we couldn't improve upon it or be better humans in America, but to take away from the nationalism of what good things we could do when America comes together, like after 9/11,
Mm-hmm.
every group came together.
That lasted for about 6 weeks.
Yeah. But now it's just like it's Operation Warp Speed when it comes to narratives and trying to get people to swing one way or another. And that just shows you how in tune the Gen Z and the millennial portions of our population are just so connected digitally that you're able to sit there and sway their opinions to either to speak up or speak out or to disconnect. And so the only voice you're hearing is what is being propagated.
Well, it's so human psychology, Dunbar's number. Humans do best between 120 and 150 people
Yeah.
struggling for survival. That's why soldiers miss war. That's why programs like AA and NA work, Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, they work because it's small, tight-knit groups of people struggling for survival. The problem is there's no community for these younger guys anymore. So Twitter and Facebook and Instagram become their community and then need a struggle for survival. They don't have to hunt their own food, so they have to make a struggle. It's, oh, I'm oppressed because of my orientation or because of this or because of that. And then they'll adopt other struggles like, oh, I'm struggling for Gaza even though I'm a, person over in America who has zero connection to the religion, zero connection to the ideology, zero connection to anything, but they're adopting that struggle because they crave that tight-knit community and struggle for survival.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to like and subscribe and share with your friends. We will see you next time.